Welcome to this edition of Talk with Taz Live. Are you being challenged? Are you being challenged by physical pain, emotional pain, feelings of doubt, or discouragement? Do you sometimes feel as if there's a cavity in your heart? A cavity of the heart is very much like a tooth cavity that sometimes gets wider and deeper no matter what you do to repair it. Why do we get a tooth cavity? We're going to blame it on the plaque. We're going to blame it on the plaque. Plaque is that yucky, sticky, slimy substance that sometimes appears on our tooth. And when it gets there, we don't think about it. Sometimes we don't even see it. But it's full of bacteria, and it's that bacteria that causes a cavity, the erosion of our tooth enamel. Well, can the heart have a cavity also? What does it have in common with tooth cavity? Well, we as heart people, because we have a heart that's beating inside of us, sometimes our heart, like the tooth, is impacted by the yucky, slimy situations that we encounter day to day. And when we encounter the heart plaque, like the tooth plaque, it's a traumatic event. And that trauma begins to erode the tissue of the heart until there is a hole or a cavity that occurs. And the thing about cavities, when we go to the dentist, they tell us this, but it just doesn't sink in. When our teeth are sick, and we have plaque and we get gingivitis and all the things that happen when we don't clean our teeth properly, or if we are prone to those sorts of things, it can seep into our bloodstream. And so what happens is that bacteria from our teeth can further damage our body. Likewise, the cavities that we experience or the holes that we experience in our heart can damage our body also. So I want us to think about what can we do to prevent heart cavities, because we don't want our heart to be sick. We don't want our heart to be overwhelmed. We don't want to feel some kind of way, because sometimes when we feel some kind of way, we lose our way. So the first thing I want us to think about is not trusting the care of our heart, our trusting the care of this to someone else. No one else knows what you need. You alone know what you need in order to be heart healthy. But it's so easy to pass the buck to someone else, and then when we don't feel good about whatever is going on, we then blame that person. But that's just, we're just using that as a escape. We're going to do the blame game because we have to be in control of our heart. The second thing is understanding that people are going to disappoint you if you allow them. They're going to disappoint you if you allow them. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. This is not new. Hi, Pauline, thanks for joining. This is not new. We've heard it, but think about it. It's only 10% about what is occurring, but 90% about how we respond. So we need to figure out how to respond differently. As I said earlier this morning on my Instagram live, it's okay to stop, think, rethink, and then act. Really, that's the way we should do it, because when we act on impulse, oftentimes we will say things and do things that we shouldn't do. And then later we regret them. But once it's out of our mouth, it's out of our mouth. So then you can't pull it back. So understand, yes, you're going to be, somewhat disappointed by what people do, but it's really about how you respond to the person and the situation that really matters. The third thing is you got to recognize when you are tired. when you're worn out. I had a boss once that would say, tired, she was tired. And, she was emphasizing because what she meant was she was beyond tired at that point. And you got to know when you've had enough. When you're tired, pull back. You have to disconnect from the situation. It may be social media, it may be television, the news, because I have to do it all the time. There are series, programs that I like that I sometimes can't watch them. They're too heavy for me. They're too heavy. So I have to protect my heart by pulling back, and then I re-engage as I'm able to. Because sometimes you can't just rush back because things are still too heavy for you. You alone can recognize that and rectify it so that that does not erode your heart. Okay? Next, I want us to think about learning to identify what is trash and what's valuable in every situation. Now, you may say trash. Yes, there's a lot that happens that's just really trash, meaning that you have to sift it as if you were sifting flour. I'm going old school now because I'm a baker. You sift flour. Everything cannot fall through the sifting. Some things are going to be valuable, and that's what comes through. Okay? You put a scoop of flour in the sifter. You're turning the little handle. All of the fine powder comes through. That's what's valuable. The clumps, they don't come through. So therefore, that's the trash. Move the trash to the trash pile. Okay? Because you don't want to bring things that are not going to add value along with you. Because when you do that, you're hurting your heart. You're hurting your heart. So you've got to be conscious of that in everything that you do. It's not just, my work environment or my faith-based or my organizations. It's just everything that you do because we're being bombarded daily by stimuli. So you've got to determine what you're going to take in and what you're not. Okay? Because we're trying to protect our heart and make sure that if there's trying to be a little cavity there, that little hole, that we prevent the hole from getting larger and going deeper. Also, I want us to stop focusing on people to supply our confidence. Now, you may say, Dr. Taz, I'm not looking for other people to supply my confidence, but sometimes we do. We may not even realize what we're doing, but we're looking external for people to motivate us, to give us praise. You've got to learn how to praise yourself. You've got to learn how to motivate yourself because only you really know what you need. Yes, do I get down? I'm down like everybody else. I get down, but I can't expect someone else to make me feel better. I have to pull myself back, look at what's going on, then I start again and figure out what do I need to do in order to make myself feel better emotionally, encourage myself, get myself motivated because it's up to me. It's not up to someone else. And think about it. If it was up to someone else to do that, you have given all of your power to someone else. Now, why would we do that? Because that means that person can play us like a piano. I'm going old school. Like when I was a little girl, the little commercials, cartoons rather, you'd see someone playing a cartoon character. They'd be playing the person like a piano, literally. You don't want that. You don't want to give someone the power to manipulate you. Don't do that because that's really going to make that cavity in your heart even larger because you have given someone that much power over you. Let's don't do that. So again, understanding that you are responsible for encouraging yourself. You can do it and you must do it. No one else can do it. The final step is to repeat this process over and over every day to build up your heart strength. We've got to minimize the plaque. We're taught that we should brush our teeth after every meal. Whether we do it or not, but it's what we're taught. You should brush your teeth after every meal. You should brush your teeth in the morning. You should brush your teeth at night before you go to bed. Well, that's at least 5 times a day we're brushing our teeth. So with the strategies that we've just been talking about, you have to do them every day, all day long. It's being conscious in the moment Because if you think it's just going to happen by happenstance, life is not that way. You have to intentionally make intentional steps throughout the day to make sure that you're protecting your heart. And so that the cavity, the hole that would want to come there, doesn't. Now understand, sometimes a hole may begin. But if you do these steps, you can diminish that hole, protect your heart, and protect your whole body. Because as I stated, when bacteria gets into our heart, it spreads throughout our body. Now I'm talking literal bacteria, and then I'm talking figurative bacteria. But regardless, the damage is done to the human body. And what we want to do is minimize any damage that's done to our body, because all of our systems operate in concert. So when the body is not feeling well, the physical body doesn't feel well, emotionally we're off kilter. When we're off kilter emotionally, sometimes we have physical symptoms. Sometimes we're not productive in our jobs. So intellectually we've been impacted. Everything acts in concert. So it's very important to understand how protecting our heart can protect so many aspects of our beings. And again, as I said this morning on my Instagram, it is okay to stop, think, stop, think, stop, begin, then respond. Because normally, and this is maybe just for me, the first 2 or 3 times that I think about something, I might still be a little emotional. But when I think about it the 3rd or 4th time, I'm beginning to think about it clearly. Then I respond. Because otherwise, I'm responding out of my emotion. I'm being driven by the plaque, I'm being driven by that plaque that is a result of whatever the event is that I'm dealing with. And it's in those moments that we respond in a manner that is not necessarily going to be positive for us or for other individuals. So remember, take the time to think before you respond so that you are protecting your heart, so there are not cavities that begin to spread and get larger, which could derail your process, your growth, your purpose. As always, this has been Talk with Taz Live. You know my sign off. Make sure you take care of you. Take care of you this day and throughout the weekend. Until next time, bye now.